So it turns out there is a gas produced in our noses that not only sterilises the air that we breathe, it also helps absorb more oxygen into our lungs by opening up the blood vessels. Now this gas is nasal nitric oxide, and it was the 1992 molecule of the year. There you go, there's a little pub quiz fact for you. Now I wanted to know more about this miracle gas that we somehow are producing in our nose. So I got Dr. Stephen Park on the Breathcast, and he got to speak to me about all the benefits and how it works. Have a listen.
So the person that discovered this won the Nobel Prize, I think in the 80s and 90s. It's a signaling molecule that relaxes blood vessels all throughout your body. And in some cases, if you have too much of it, it's toxic. Right. So just like everything else in the body, you have to have just the right amount in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But when you mess with that physiology, then your body doesn't do too well. Mm-hmm. So this gas, actually, in certain medical centers for the coronavirus, they're actually putting in artificial nitric oxide into the lungs through the endotracheal tube to dilate blood vessels.
Wow.
So it's a very common thing that we've known about for decades, but people don't take advantage of it because most people tend to breathe more through the mouth these days for various reasons that we're going to talk about.
No, I'm looking forward to getting into that piece.
And also, one more thing is that there are studies showing that if you hum, you increase nitric oxide production.
This is what I wanted to talk to you about before we went into the mouth and nose breathing. So Dr. Belfour, who we just spoke about before I hit record, I spoke to him. He's not been published on the channel yet, but he was really passionate about nitric oxide. And he was telling me when you do box breathing, for example, for those that don't know, it's the in, the pause, and the out and the pause, and you do a count to that. He was saying when you do the out breath, use the mouth because you're letting the nitric oxide build up even more. And then when you go in for the next in-breath, all that nitric oxide's been kind of, held there and you get a bit more. Whereas if you'd breathed out through the nose, you might have blown off some of that nitric oxide. So I don't know if there's anything to that or you've got anything else you can add to that. Like, should we be humming? Should we be trying in our day to kind of produce more nitric oxide?
Well, I think there's some truth to that. You want to be naturally breathing in through your nose, and the nitric oxide has to go into the lungs. But remember, the nose is not just to produce nitric oxide. It's a filter processing, air processing system that helps us smooth, warm, humidify, and filter air. It's a pre-processor for the air that you breathe into your lungs. So, and also allows for laminar airflow. So instead of tumbling airflow, it's very smooth. And so the nose is a very important part of the whole breathing process and your physiology. So I think that Dr. Belfour may have a point that you don't want to breathe out the nitric oxide. You want to just inhale it as much as possible.
Yeah.
But honestly, ideally, you want, when you talk about breathing, I know that's a big focus of your show and many of your guests, and we can override our breathing and improve our health. But ideally, you don't want to be thinking about breathing. It should be natural, right? But because we kind of mess everything up through our environment and our diet, now we have to kind of think about it to be able to breathe better. And so I think these are all very important concepts to talk about. But ideally, you want to get to the point where either naturally or just because of habit, it's a natural breathing process as opposed to trying to do it artificially or override it.
So I guess we've got to remember to breathe through our nose, because if we don't use our nose, we don't get the nasal nitric oxide. And if you're interested in seeing the entire interview for free with Dr. Stephen Park, you can hop on over to our second channel, Breathcast, where that's live and you can enjoy that. If you want to practice some breathing exercises, maybe you want to do some humming breath now and release some additional nasal nitric oxide, clean the air. We've got over 200 breathing exercises on this channel, so fill your boots. And for those of you that want to take your breathwork practice to the next level, the Take a Deep Breath Level 1 Functional Breathing course is now live. We've been getting wonderful feedback from people. So if you want to learn a bit more, click on the link below, take you to a page explaining what's in the course, how it works. In short, I'm taking 5 years worth of podcasts and knowledge and condensed it down to a really short, simple, fun course so you can learn to breathe better, learn to harness your nasal nitric oxide, lower blood pressure, improve performance in the bedroom. Yes, it does affect that, the way you breathe, increase heart rate variability, and a whole range of other things. So if you're interested in doing that, click on that link below, and I'll see you on the next videos. Thank you so much. Cheers.